This is the XNC Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, XNC Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox Newscast. Welcome to the XNC Podcast. I'm your Colst.
You're the Colst? You're the coolest Colst in the entire world, ladies and gentlemen. And Colteastwood has officially left the building. Ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to the Xbox, the XNC Podcast. I'm your host.
Are you sure?
Colteastwood. This is episode, I'm not, episode 223. 223, and I'm here with my host and co-host and Colst and Coast, middle-aged game guy, and we talked about a lot while you were waiting for us to go live. But thank you for being here, Mag. How are you? Happy Thanksgiving.
I am doing lovely. Yes, Thanksgiving just wrapped up over here in Canada. To all my Canadian brothers and sisters out there, I hope you enjoyed yourself. Had a great time. Did Saturday at my brother's house, and then Sunday I went up north to my brother-in-law's cottage. So that was all groovy. And here we are. We're back in the gaming news, and we got a lot. I got a lot of stuff going on this week. We got XNC tonight. We got a lot of things to talk about. So let's get into it, buddy.
Yeah, there's some. There'll be some interesting topics tonight because Xbox has been set ablaze, the doom and gloom, the FUD. We're going to cover all of it and kind of get us kind of all reoriented because even right now there's a lot going on, a lot of discussions among content creators, media journalists, and so much about Xbox. And I think I'm very confident that Mag and I can have a very good, reasonable discussion because I think the truth is somewhere in the middle, and I think I know kind of where it lands, but there's a lot that Mag can't say, and there's a lot of stuff that I probably shouldn't say, but we'll get it all aired out. To protect people or protect sources or protect good friends. Yeah. And before we get started, when I say protect good friends, I don't mean protect good friends at Xbox. I don't have real life friends that work at Xbox. That's one of the other things we're going to get into today. This parasocial relationship, the perception. It's pretty messy, and we're going to get into it because it's really, really interesting. But before we do, Meg and I would love to welcome you to the show and talk about what we've been playing. I'm playing currently right now The Outer Worlds 2. I got the game on Friday night. And I will have my impressions up on the 23rd at 6 a.m. Pacific time, I think it'll be. So it's always fun. I also have Ninja Gaiden 4, which I haven't even loaded up because I got it a day or two before Outer Worlds 2. And I did not get Keeper, which is interesting. I think maybe somebody at Xbox is listening like, he doesn't sound like he's ready to put a candle, as Mag would say, a candle in the window for the walking lighthouse.
Listen, man, if there's one game that I'm absolutely would give a chance to, it would absolutely be Keeper, and I'll tell you why. It's not because it's like going to be some huge, massive AAA banger. It's only because the studio, it's because Double Fine is so good at what they do, and they're so interesting, and they make such fun games that I really enjoy. And of course, I like what's his face there, Jack Black there of the gaming industry. What the hell's his name?
Yeah, and he has Jack Black with him. Tim Schafer.
Yeah. Tim Schafer. Awesome dude, makes really cool games, whatever else. I haven't been disappointed by Double Fine as of yet. So that one, just based on past pedigree, I'm absolutely all in on Keeper. However, I'm not going to play it right now. I'm way too busy. So,
yeah, I'm kind of
Little Table, thank you.
I like Double Fine. I like some of the stuff they do. Some of the stuff is like, I tried and didn't love it. So I wondered if Keeper was going to be one of those things. And marketing for Keeper has been very, very, very small. So
it's a small game.
Kind of put things together, right? Like, what are you expecting from Keeper? What's your Metacritic prediction, Mag?
I think it'll be in the 80s. Just my guess. Just once again, based on their pedigree, I would expect somewhere in the 80s, maybe like 83 to 86, somewhere around there. And again, it's a smaller title, I understand, and it's the kind of thing that you're not going to see. You're not going to have every outlet talking about that, especially with what's going on right now with all the gaming news. I'm not talking about the outside of games gaming news. I'm talking about the actual games that are out right now and even coming up. There's just so much that it's just like, for example, another one, which is an absolute travesty. And I really hope it could cut through all of it, is that Little Nightmares 3 came out. Okay, folks. So I will be streaming actually Little Nightmares 3 as soon as I'm done Silent Hill 2 with my Mag's Halloween Haunt. I will be, as soon as I'm done Silent Hill 2, which I'm near the end, I'm going straight into Little Nightmares 3. And because it got sandwiched between all these massive AAA games, I'm like, oh man, guys, please don't sleep on this game. I played the first hour just to get like a feel of it. I just wanted to see how it compared to the other two. And it's fantastic as the other two were. So if you're a fan of the other Little Nightmares games, Little Nightmares 1 and 2, wonderful. Then I'm all in. By the way, there's literally a dude in the chat called Keeper. And he goes, thanks, Mag.
Yep. Thanks, Mag.
So you're the lighthouse. So ladies and gentlemen, this is an unprecedented situation. We officially have a lighthouse watching the XNC podcast. Inanimate objects.
Watching over.
Well, watching over and keeping the light in time. As Dumbledore says, in times of darkness, one must just remember to turn on the light.
Or turn the light on again, as Billy Joel would say in his comeback song. So shout out to Wagerman.
Billy Joel or Dumbledore? Who did it better?
Let's have Billy Joel play.
Who's better, Billy Joel or Dumbledore?
I'm going to go with Billy Joel. Although they could be one and the
Joel?
same. Yeah. I like most all Billy Joel. Yeah. Fun fact, one of my favorite, my first favorite songs was, that in my memory was It's Still Rock and Roll to Me, and I had the 45. I didn't buy it. I was probably 6 years old. And my older brother said, the song's not called Miracle Mile. Now, that reference would go over everyone's head because that song came out in like 1979. But yeah, I've always really liked that. Shout out to Wagerman in the chat, Grandpa's Barbecue Game Cat, That Blue Number. Good friends in the chat. Also, people who are watching over the chat for us. Meat Puppet, we appreciate you so much. Wagerman, I'm glad you're here. We're going to get knee deep into it later on, and I'm sure you're going to be stuffing a napkin down the front of your shirt and getting all salivated up to hear the discussion. Welcome. Hit the like button if you're here. As Mag and I just get rolling, we're going to get quickly into the show as preambles are now over, because right at the 2-hour mark, I have to get going, and Mag is going to probably do some streaming for his channel. So
I will
hop over there when we're done. Let's get into the news. The first thing I want to start out with is a quick public service announcement. Not really. Before I do that, Meg, can you tell everybody about our incredible sponsor? We're doing 2 in a row because we're picking up from lost time for the incredible 4XP. And let me tell you something. You've been playing Battlefield.
Let me tell you something. When you're on the battlefield and you need to liberate Alpha, you need to liberate Bravo. There's only one way you can do that, ladies and gentlemen, and it's not with a gun. This is my rifle, this is my gun means nothing in the game. What you need is 4xpgaming.com. That's the only weapon, that's the only attachment you need to get you through Battlefield 6. When you got 100 people on that battlefield, you've got ships flying overhead, you've got tanks rolling over bodies. The only way that you're going to survive, ladies and gentlemen, on that battlefield is with 4xpgaming.com. When you're playing Keeper, the light of the lighthouse is powered by 4xpgaming.com. It is a fact. When that lighthouse stops drinking 4XP Gaming, the light's out. Game over. Tim Schafer even said so. He said they built it right into the game. It's an absolute fact. Your katanas, or as they say in Ghost of Yotei, katana. You pull that out during Ninja Gaiden. It's not going to work. It's not going to work unless you are drinking 4xpgaming.com. That's the fact. These are just the facts. The reason why Colt and I are here doing this all the time. We do this, and we do this. We do videos. We do live streaming. We do everything else. We do Magcasts. We do XNCs. Colt does these super high production videos. There's only one way that all of this can be done. Look at those muscles. Those muscles were created by 4xpgaming.com. And if you want to do the same thing, listen, people ask me all the time, they're like, Mag, where do you get all this energy from? Where do you get all this energy from? And I'm like, Where do you think? 4xpgaming.com is the only way. It's the fuel for better YouTubing, ladies and gentlemen. Get out there, go to the website, go check them out. They're amazing people. Okay, super amazing dudes. We talk to them personally all the time. They always reach out and are so appreciative of all the hard work that not only that they're doing, they appreciate all the hard work that we do to help support them. So go check out the website. The stuff is absolutely incredible. It really is, and it's delicious. So go and check it out, please. 4xpgaming.com. And one last thing. Starting in a few weeks, this will be the week of Halloween. 4xpgaming.com has sponsored my playthrough of Silent Hill F. That will be coming later this month on my channel. And so these guys are generous. They're wonderful. They got great product. Go check them out. Go support them, man. Support the small guy. Don't support the big corporations. Support the small guys. Because when they make it big, they know that you helped lay that foundation. Colteastwood, take it away, my friend.
Thank you so much, Mag. We appreciate you and the sponsors so much. But before we get started, the first thing I want to bring up is some of these content creators that don't really seem to like Xbox. This is one of the themes that we're going to be covering for most of the show today. There is, I'm not going to call them out by name, but I'm going to paraphrase this really long tweet calling out Xbox content creators and the media who work with Xbox. This person said, I have a problem with the unethical Xbox Plus influencer content creator practices. Expose a huge problem with people that get review codes, their press junkets, a select designated organized cadre of influencers and content creators who are a regular part of the cavalcade who have been funded to attend multiple Xbox events and trade shows that cast a bad actors spreading misinformation, disinformation, corporate talking points, and outright propaganda for the benefit of the brand and corporation, and claiming they are unbiased and neutral and objective. A cabal where there are acts of fealty expected, where the measurements of loyalty are determined whether you are in or whether you're out. And they are questioned by these people who get to talk to developers or have the gall to gatekeep or dismiss people saying that they're a fanboy, and also getting free gear, free codes, flown out and paid for to fly to events and stay at hotels and go to press junkets or events. This person has a problem with the Xbox content creators, and I would be one of them. I have only just started flying out to events, Mag, but I've gone out to maybe 5 or 6 in the past 2 or 3 years, okay? So this is a problem. If you have a plane ticket, they say, a paid hotel room, lunches, dinner, drinks, gifts, access to insider information, and use it to monetize your YouTube channel so you can make reviews, then you've been out here calling out people or fanboys, you are biased. Now, I wanted to address this because our good friend of the channel and the community, a guy who has never hurt a single soul, Mr. Boomstick, was getting called out because he's been flown to a couple events and he's had access to review codes. And there are people that treat these Xbox content creators like they are a paid service, that Xbox is using them for their benefit, and that they are inherently completely biased. They will always praise everything Xbox does. And I know how it looks because I put out tweets like, even my close friends are mad at me when I put out tweets like, this is an Xbox and this is a first party Xbox game. I do that solely because there are people whose self-esteem are so small and their tolerance for the name Xbox abrases the underside of their carriage so much that they can't help themselves to insult me because something is considered an Xbox. I've been flown to events. I've gone to events, but my review scores over the past 3 years have settled very close to the rest of the media journalists. So, I guess you could just look and say, what score did he give Halo Infinite? What did he give Gears 5? What did he give? I gave Crackdown 3 a 78. I gave South of Midnight a 69. I gave, it goes on. And you can look at this stuff if you want. Nobody's keeping score. The other thing I want to say is that how asinine is it that Capcom, Square, Konami, Ubisoft, EA, Activision, you name it, all of these platforms, publishers, studios, CD Projekt Red, they're all sending people out to play their games and to go to their events and they pay them to go, they fly them out, They pay them for their time via hotel room and airfare to cover it so that they can cover it on their channel and get out to the rest of the world, because that's how marketing works. But it's so funny that because it's Xbox people, Mag, how could someone seriously cover Xbox and have something nice to say? I think that's either it screams that, or I think it screams massive jealousy that maybe this person thinks, oh, I'm in the PlayStation community, but PlayStation's not sending me review codes. PlayStation's not flying me out to their studios or having me interview their people. I don't know, Meg. You're kind of on the outskirts of this. What's your opinion on this? Or are both of us on both sides making too big of a deal about it?
It happens in every single industry. And what I mean by that is that, like, for example, when, however, it depends on the company, not the individual. That's the thing, that people target the individuals. They're not looking at the company. And I think they need to look at the company. Like, for example, if they fly you out or Boom out or whoever, right? The Iron Lords or whatever, okay? And they fly you out somewhere, you go play this and that, whatever. You do something for, like, I don't know, Fallout 76 or this and that. And let's just say you give a scathing review. Okay, and you're like, oh man, this just ain't good. This ain't it, folks, or whatever, right? And you're like, this is not working out. It's not great, and all that, blah, 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 blah. And so if they don't invite you after that, then you understand the true motivation of the company, not the individual, right? So, like, for example, if you're going out there to give an honest review, you, Colteastwood, right? And you're like, listen, I played this. It's okay, whatever. It's not great, whatever the case may be. And you're just telling the truth. If Microsoft stopped inviting you to events after that, then you know from their end it was a more nefarious reason as to why they're doing that. Okay. Disney does that, for example. Like Disney, a bunch of scumbags. They invite people out to go see their movies and Marvel movies. They cut out a ton of social media presence, YouTubers and stuff like that, who deservedly cut a lot of their movies apart, like some of their last Pixar movies, some of their Marvel movies, and everything else. And like, this just ain't it. And you know, the funny thing is, in the end, those people who said those things were absolutely 100% correct. You know why? Because the box office tells the story. When you lose 100 million, 150 million per movie over the last 4 years of the absolute dumpster trash that they keep pumping out in the theaters, not all of it, because I know people in the chat are going to be like, Meg, Inside Out $2 billion. I know, but I'm just saying, there's a lot of them that don't do well. All those people, and some of them I know personally, obviously, are not invited back again. And I'm like, so do you want an honest review, or do you want fluff for yourself, right? So that you get those out of theater reactions like this with the phone. I just came out of the Lilo and Stitch and it's a 10 out of 10. That's what they want you to do, right? But if you're going out there and doing that honestly, then I don't think that people should be targeting the individual. You should be targeting and watching what the corporation does, not Colteastwood, not what Boom does and whatever. And because these people, I see it with my own eyes, it could be absolutely fair, reasonable, and approach something in a mature, smart manner that could say, "Hey, listen, this is what I'm doing," and be able to look at it and say, "Here, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I'm playing, or whatever else," and not sit there and say, "Oh man, I'm gonna have to fluff for these guys," or you know what I mean, or I'm gonna have to shill for these guys, and say, "I better do a nice review, otherwise they're not gonna fly me out to LA again," or whatever.
Well, there's three types of reviewers, in my opinion. There is the I got to go out here. Everything's great. The three different reviewers would probably be everything's wonderful. Be excited no matter what. Or there's like, I really don't like anything. Like there definitely are prominent people in that really like everything. And then there's the outlets that it's really hard to please them. So they always score low no matter what. Right. We've seen that. So, but there's the type of person that gets access to review something and they use it to push their either political agenda or their personal agenda. This could get really messy, but there are some people who are like, I'm reviewing this based solely on this type of character and this sort of dialogue that happens in the game, that I am trying to get rid of that sort of thing in the games industry, right? So those people are always a problem. So maybe there's two types of review. And then the other type, I guess the third type would be the person who just goes to do the event and tries not to let the free goodies sway them. And so,
Right.
and I know I said it a million times, and I paid my penance, and I had to push the stone of Sisyphus up the hill for Redfall, and apologize to so many people who never were going to buy the game in the first place, but apologize to the people who would have been excited for the game and didn't end up liking it like I did by the end. But so I paid for that penance. But really close friends of mine, Mag, were having a strong conversation with me behind the scenes about, Cole, you go to San Francisco, LA, New York, Amsterdam, you go all these places. You're telling me that them sending you or giving you free games to review doesn't sway your opinion about how you're going to review the game or the brand? And I'm like, no. And I've worked really hard for that to be a no. I mean, I'm actively trying every single time they send me somewhere to just be as objective and report as much about the game and give my opinion the best way I can. And to the detriment of being followed by a bunch of people at Obsidian Entertainment and my preview for Outer Worlds 2, where I just got the prologue, I was pretty harsh. Like, I thought, oh man, this just really sounds bad, but it doesn't matter. This is how you're supposed to do things if this is all I have to go on. And so this strong conversation I had with my close friends, close real life friends, that said they don't believe me that I am swayed by the free gear and free trips. And I said, go look at my scores. And they didn't want to have this conversation. And it's getting more difficult to be a content creator, especially when it comes to Xbox, because Xbox is making a lot of major mistakes right now, but it's hard for some certain people to believe that Xbox could actually accomplish things that people enjoy. And it's been an uphill battle for me to get excited about what they're doing and also see some of the stuff we're going to talk about today.
The other thing is, sorry. No, I was going to say one more thing. It was just like, I
want you to close out this topic.
All right, that's fine. I was just going to say one more thing in regards to what you were saying a few minutes ago about review scores and stuff like that. Like, I look at, actually, funny enough, one of my favorite games that I got to play this year on Game Pass was South of Midnight. I actually thought that South of Midnight was one of my favorite games that they released this year. The other ones were good. Like Doom: The Dark Ages was good. Wasn't fantastic, but it was good. I mean, I still gave it an 8, I think, or no, 7.5, I think. I ended up with somewhere around there. Anyways, doesn't matter. The point is that even though I gave it a great review or whatever else, I also gave in my review a 5-minute a breakdown of what didn't work, right? And just because, when things don't work, doesn't mean you can't give it a good score or whatever else. And say, so people look at it, they can't say, oh, you're just a shill because you gave it an 8.5. And I'm like, yeah, but if you actually watch the review, I gave 5 minutes of things that I did not like or whatever else. And I know you do the same thing. So when you break it down, you say, this is what works, this is what doesn't work, and all that stuff. But in the end, did you enjoy yourself? It's just like a film. You watch a movie, not every single frame of the movie you're going to love. But the end product, if you look at the end and say, you know what, I had fun with my 25 hours playing whatever. I said, there were a lot of problems, but I enjoyed myself along the way. Therefore, I can say I gave it a positive review in the end. It doesn't make you a shill. It just means that you enjoyed yourself for that experience. It has problems, but it was still enjoyable. And like I said, there are a million movies out there that have cult followings. There are movies that aren't that great, but enjoy. Like, for example, I actually just, funny enough, we were talking about Disney. I just watched Fantastic Four, and I know a lot of people were crapping all over it. I actually enjoyed the hell out of it. I thought it was a fun movie. It wasn't perfect, but I wasn't going to sit there and rip that film apart and be like, oh, well, this and that and whatever, and they did this and then Shella Ball was a woman. We can't have Silver Surf her and all this other stuff. And I'm like, listen, man, just take it for what it is. And I'm like, I enjoyed the film. I'm not a fan of what Marvel's been doing since Endgame. They've been outside of like a couple of gems like Deadpool, and then Spider-Man is owned by Sony anyway. But like, I really enjoyed Fantastic Four, and I'm like, that was a fun movie. It was a great time. Was it perfect? No. Would I give it a 7 out of 10? Yes. Right? But what I'm saying is, it's like, you can still enjoy something and not be called a shill just because you enjoyed it. And you may have given it a better score because of your personal feelings about it and how it reached out to you. Right? And so I think people read into it too much, where they're like, oh, he just and I know what kind of games you like, Colt. For example, we'll take you specifically.
Yeah.
I know what kind of games you play. I know what you enjoy or whatever else. And you have enjoyed. Would I ever criticize what you like and don't like? You've put like 850,000 hours into Starfield. I couldn't even get past 5 before I wanted to smash my Series X into a million pieces. I couldn't stand it. Does that mean we're going to stop talking? Does that mean you're an Xbox shill?
No, you've played
Does that mean
Resident
I'm
Evil 9 million times or whatever. Resident Evil, whatever. Yeah, Resident Evil 4.
All of them. All of them.
Yeah, all of them
all
9
of
million times, and I still tolerate you to a degree. Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like what is the difference at the end of the day? And like, even if people think, let's just say for argument's sake, you're like, you know what, they're being disingenuous, or I feel that they're being disingenuous about what they're doing and all this other kind of stuff. I'm like, all right, fine. But at the end of the day, it's not about what Boom says, what Colt says, what King David says, what Randall Thor says, or Jez, or me, or you. It doesn't matter what we say. At the end of the day, it is entirely up to you. You can look at what people say as sort of like a litmus test, watch a few videos, go to Metacritic, see if it kind of lines up. You're like, all right, whatever. And then, if you have the opportunity to play it, or if it's something in your wheelhouse, go and try it yourself. I know gaming is obviously extremely expensive, but I'm just saying, like, I like the Silent Hill games, right? I know that Silent Hill F is going to be right in my wheelhouse of my type of games that I enjoy to play. So therefore, I'm going to play it. Chronos, the same thing. Mind you, the maggots bought that for me because I was pining about it. I'm like, there's too many games out right now. I can't buy this. I gotta wait. And they're like, no, dude, you're playing it now. And I streamed it on the channel, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. But I know what I like. You know what I'm saying? And so,
I did a preview.
You as a consumer,
I did a preview for Fallout 76, the new content, and I didn't. So it's just a preview, but I didn't approach it from so much as a brand new person as somebody who already knows what Fallout 76 is, or wants to get back in or play it, because I have a video if you want to jump into it. But that one was kind of weird because, like, is there enough coming in the next season to keep me playing for hundreds of hours? Probably not. But I was fairly positive about, a smaller update. Well, I mean, they added a whole thing, but yeah, I mean, it just depends. And there's an outlet that everyone is all connected to that typically scores their games higher than most. I would say they may be one outlet that they're at the upper 10 percentile of their scores compared to the rest of their peers and content creators and media journalists. Their scores are typically much higher. And you can maybe you have to look at that outlet and say, if they gave it a 9, maybe it's an 8 for me. I mean, scores really shouldn't hinge on everything, but to say that
your personal experience, Colt.
Yeah, and to say that because I get a free trip to go fly somewhere and go to the event and have hands-on with the game, and say that affects me and makes me biased, just look at my scores. And honestly, Meg, I say this way too much. And thank you, everybody who's watching this show today. We really appreciate you. You don't know how much it means when you tune in to watch Mag and I, because I refer to you and to Mag and I in these discussions all the time when people say, oh, you're a shill. You always defend everything Xbox does. You're not real. You don't keep it real. You don't go at them raw enough and stuff like that. I'm like, I sit here with Mag every Monday, and I have my criticisms and I have my complaints about Xbox. I put it in my videos. The difference is, this is the last thing I'm going to say, and we'll move on to the real news. The difference is, when I have criticism against Xbox, I'll say Xbox is incompetent in delivering their stuff in a cadence up until now. Or I'll say Sarah Bond bragged about how much she was making on Game Pass and then turn around and hike the price. And then I move on to the next sentence. I don't make entire videos asking for the heads of Xbox leadership to be put on a pike and to dance around them naked with a flame burning off of the little bit of hair I have on the top of my head. I don't make that kind of content. And constructive, real criticism where you make your statement, I don't like that they do this. Like the other day when you and I were like, we've seen more of Perfect Dark and Everwild than any of the games that they promised to show us in 2020. And we make that statement, we laugh and we move on, and it pisses off the diehard Xbox fans to hear us being critical. But Meg and I don't even tell Meg. I never tell Meg what to say. But you and I just typically have the same approach. You make your offhand statement, you do your little backhand, and you move on. And people are like, yeah, they're right. Let's get into the news. You guys are amazing. Before we do it, I'm going to grab 2 super chats. Grandpa's Barbecue Game Cat, thank you so much for the 5. Says, Xbox in whatever form will be around in 10 years plus. I agree. I think the name Xbox is too big for Microsoft to let go. I just don't know what it's going to look like. And we're going to get into that. Yosemite Blam, thank you for the 5. Says, hey, Mr. Eastwood, can you ask Mag one question? Yell it like Samuel Jackson. Here. What do Falcons do? What
oh my God. What's happening now? What is happening now?
People are watching Monday Night Football.
Well, yeah, I know Monday Night Football is going on, but the Bills are falling apart a little bit right now. I mean, they started 4-0. They lost last week, 23-20, and now they're losing 21-7. However, Buffalo has a long history of coming back in the second half. So, yeah.
And so do you.
Yeah, no, it is what it is. Xbox is king. Let me address him directly.
All right.
Nicely. I see what you're saying, and I know what you're saying, but you're absolutely wrong. Labeling myself or Colt is not, I'm not a pony because I talk crap about Xbox. The context of what we talk about, and then Colt is not an Xbot because he has an Xbox channel. We have our preferences, and our histories are varying and different. As a result of all those things, in regards to the conversation we just had, when people say stupid shit like, oh, Mag says one thing on one channel, but then he doesn't say it when... It's depending on the topic that we're talking about. If Colt doesn't bring up a topic that's brought up on another show, why would I talk about that when we're talking about a very specific topic? But if I go on another show and they ask me a question very specific and I give my answer, if Colt asked me the same question, you'd get the same answer. This is the last time I will tell people that. If you don't like it, then you are not paying attention. Xbox is king. I'm not singling you out. I know you're just playing around a little bit, but other people aren't playing around. And so the problem is when you label Colt and you label me or whatever else, there are various things you can do. You can not watch, or you can just watch and be somewhat objective as to how people discuss things and talk about things. Colt will not bring up the same topics that Mooch brings up, for example. So when I answer a question that Mooch asks, I will give the honest answer. All my maggots know. I don't lie. I don't mince words. I say it exactly like it is. Colt will ask me different questions. I will answer it. If he answered, like last week or 2 weeks ago, we crapped all over Xbox for practically 2 hours. Right? Yeah. But then all of a sudden, that kind of conversation, that stuff. I mean, you could say whatever you guys want to say. I mean, you are fair to you're free to do whatever you want, and your opinions matter. They really do, and everybody's opinion matters. But be respectful about it. Don't label people. Don't label him. Don't label me. Don't label all these other guys. Oh, he's a pony. He's a this. He's a that. He's a this. No, these are guys with microphones. If you want something to say, buy one of these. Buy one of those, and then you can go do it yourself.
And
by the way, Xbox is king. These backgrounds are real, by the way, just so you know. They're not green screen, my friend. Xbox is king. I expect you in Madcast tomorrow night, so don't be a jerk.
The other thing that I'll say is, you get into a podcast where there's predominantly PlayStation people. Everything is looked through a PlayStation lens, that blue lens. Like, it just happens. And the same for Xbox. Like, people just would tune in for a second and they think they know. How many times have somebody said, I know exactly what you say and what you do, and they're not even right. So let's get into the gaming news. You guys are awesome.
Gaming.
So apparently Xbox's Halo Studios has been going through a lot of trouble, but it sounds like their next project, the worst kept secret in the world, is Halo Combat Evolved Remake. And so I've got a couple of predictions I'm going to spout off, and this will be a short topic, but I think they're going to modernize this game and maybe change up a couple of levels and modernize and make them a little bit better. A lot of you who've played the game several times, like I have, the last level they had to add in arrows in the map on the ground, the library, because you could get lost. And it sounds like I would predict they're going to fix some parts of the game to make it less repetitive and make it more cohesive, and add in something like sprint to make it feel more modern and more attuned to its UE5 counterpart. For those of you wondering if Halo cannot feel like Halo if it's under UE5, I'll just remind you that a game engine is all of the connecting parts software-wise that make the game do its thing. It's up to the Halo studios to craft the characters and models to make them look that way, and the animators and the rig people to make the shooting feel like a Halo game. And I'm going to predict that it does feel just like Halo Combat Evolved if it was made 10 years ago instead of 25 years ago. Mag, do you have anything to say about Halo and your good or bad?
Yeah, no, nothing bad. I mean, even the first Halo now that they've already remastered for the Master Chief Collection was actually really good. The only thing that they're going to have to deal with now, my question is this: is it an actual remake or is it just a remaster of the remaster? Like, for example, like Gears of War Reloaded was a updated version of the Gears of War. What the hell was it called? Definitive Edition or whatever the hell it was. Yeah, you know, the one that came out like
everything that everything that I've said by prediction is that it is a remake. All brand new engine, just like Oblivion was basically a remake, but they called it a remaster. I think this goes a couple steps beyond that. And
okay, all right.
It's considered
so they're going to speed it up a little bit, like sort of like Halo Infinite. Like Halo Infinite did not feel clunky and heavy, even though he was wearing his armor and stuff like that. But like you were out in the open world and like you can move. You know what I mean? It was like wasn't quite Call of Duty ridiculous, but it was like you know what I mean? Like the character moved with a little bit of pep in his step. And so like you can actually, you know, negotiate this, get that there, verticality, you had that you know, the grapple and all that kind of stuff, aiming down sights. These are all things that are missing from the original Halo. So those are things that people are either going to embrace or not embrace. And I think at this point, I think only the diehards would have a problem.
And
you know what I mean? Like with that, but if you're trying to sell it on the other side of the fence, which they are, right? You know, you're going to release it on Sony or whatever else. Are Sony people going to adopt that style of gameplay, or are they going to be like, listen, man, I didn't grow up with this? Because I mean, believe it or not, there are people who've literally never touched Halo before. I mean, most of the PlayStation guys I know all have played Xbox, and most of them still do, right? Most people I talk to are like multi-console owners, or at least have access to it, right? So the thing is, they know how Halo plays. But if you're trying to introduce it to a whole new generation of people, which is really what they're trying to do at the end of the day, they're not trying to really appease me and you. We're 50 and 49 respectively, and we're not the target market anymore. I hate to say it, folks, and it really sucks, but we're not the target market. My kids are the target. Is my kid going to go back, my son going to go back and play Halo 1, you know, practically like a walking tank kind of thing, right? And as a result of that, they're not going to do it. Alfonso, thank you for the clarification, my friend. I appreciate that. So like they're going to want to play at something that they are used to playing. They're used to playing games with movement, like what's it called, Fortnite, like Call of Duty. Kids really don't. I don't know. I don't know any kids are playing Battlefield.
I think Halo's a hard sell for my soon-to-be 15-year-old, right?
Like my son
might be excited about it.
But depends on what they do though, dude. I mean, if they really jazz it up and really make it like modern, they really modernize this thing, people will pay attention. I think people will pay attention.
My memory of the anniversary edition, which came out in 2011 and then got pushed into got up-resed and 60 frames into Halo Master Chief Collection in 2014. So it's on its second port, the anniversary edition. I've gone back and played that. I remember recording clips just for a video when I was doing Gaming Weekly News, which, by the way, I might bring back now that things have kind of settled out. My memory is that it looks good enough as it is. Why do they need to do this? But I know that Halo Studios is using this as a stepping point to get everybody on Unreal Engine instead of Slip Space Engine. And it's going to be kind of a throwaway for me. I'll play 1 or 2 levels and then that'll be it. I feel the same way and hey, at the risk of, and if you think I'm biased, when I'm saying this right now, someone's listening. I want you guys to know this. Thank you so much for being here. Hit the like button. We're live on YouTube. We're also on demand on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I want you to know that I really, truly feel that somebody's listening. Because when I've been outspoken about a game that Xbox is working on that I'm not particularly interested in, I haven't heard from them on reviewing the game. I really, it feels like they're listening. They're like, okay, if he's really excited about Outer Worlds, we'll send him that because they have four games this month, and they're trying to manage everybody who's sending stuff. And maybe I'm being weird, but I am not afraid to tell you guys. I made one mistake with Redfall. I'll never do that again. I was excited in the moment, loved the gunplay. I still actually really love the gunplay of Redfall. That's what won me over. That's where the viral tweet comes from. I'm more careful. And if it means me saying, I'm not particularly interested in Gears Reloaded, I've already played it lots of times, and Xbox is like, well, we don't need to send it to him because he's not really hot on it. And if that's how Xbox does things, then either I'm doing it right, or maybe they shouldn't be doing that. But
that's why I said focus on them, not the individual so much.
Absolutely.
Focus on their agenda, because corporations have an agenda regardless. I expect for the rest of my YouTube career, I expect to probably get, well, unless I got like really, really big out there in the world, I actually expect nothing.
Yeah, that's good.
From them, because and it's not because any reason, like I'm not gonna say I don't want your codes. Like I know some people who do that. There are some big YouTubers out there who actually refuse codes and they say, listen, I won't say their names, but you guys know who we're talking about. Some people
you can say their names because they wear it very proudly, and it's their way of.
Oh, true. Showing... Okay, well, there's like ACG, for example.
Yeah.
Like ACG, like at the beginning of every one of his reviews, he saes, I do not take review copies. I buy them with my own money.
He gets a review copy, but he buys a copy to give away so that the burden of purchase is still.
Oh, right. Yeah. Sorry. I understand. Yes,
but
I understand what you're saying.
There are people that maybe you shouldn't mention because of the way they do it, but they refuse to take game codes or trips, or they won't go out to a preview because they think that inherently makes them biased. That might say a lot about the person. If you feel like you are not allowed to go fly out and meet a studio and the people that make the games and report directly on the game because that makes you appear biased, it's up to you, the content creator, to prove to your fans that I'm going to tell you how it is, what I like and what I don't like. And I've really been very grateful to sit down with two of the main creators of Fallout 76, a game I absolutely love. It's an amazing privilege. And if stuff turns out like I don't like, I just say what I don't like. I'm just going to reiterate this. We're going to move back into the news as we're done talking about Halo. But if you don't like something, just make a statement. Just say it. You don't need to go on tirades. You don't need to go say it over and over and make repeated posts about how you hate this or don't like this. Say your criticism. Keep it constructive, and you'll be respected for it. And hey, I've got a long way to go to learn about that. All right. So this past 2 weeks, there's been massive doom and gloom about Xbox. Let me bookmark this. Thank you, guys. I've been doing timestamps on the fly so that after the show goes up on demand, we can have timestamps for you immediately. So last week it was that Xbox had canceled their console. Xbox responded on a Sunday and said, we're still committed, or we point to our agreement with AMD. I made a video middle of last week after XNC about Xbox Project Magnus because Moore's Law is dead. It got a closer look at the chip, and he got numbers were changed. Some numbers came down, and he's really confident about them. So I made this video about how the console's still on the table. His AMD engineer source said, as far as I know, they are still in TSMC and AMD, and they're full-fledged ahead. The AMD engineer said, I don't know what they're going to call it. It may be a Microsoft device or an Xbox device, but it's definitely something Xbox is making, and they are in the middle of or whatever full steam ahead would be. So I made that video. So catching up to this week's stuff, and on Saturday, there was a report that came in through Reddit that retailers were pulling stock for Xbox. There were lots of pictures of people who said, hey, what's going on at my Walmart and my Target? And Costco definitely stopped carrying Xbox consoles. But a Reddit post went up that the gaming media latched onto because, Mag, you said this perfectly a few weeks ago, that if you share doom and gloom or a negative thing about Xbox, you garner the clicks of the people defending Xbox, and then you garner the clicks of the people who want Xbox to die, and then those people fight each other, and it drives engagement, and it's a win-win situation if you're a content creator in Xbox's demise. So, Mag, what's going on with there's the truth somewhere in the middle. What is going on with the retail situation for Xbox current consoles?
Well, I could say, like, I've been watching it very closely. I haven't talked about it really much. I made a joke about it the other night, as you saw the tweet I put up at like 3 a.m. yesterday about the 1923 storefront, because the original thing that
soda fountain. Or something.
Yeah, it was like because what originally happened was someone had put up that picture, and it was apparently from 2 years ago or whatever. And so as a result of that, people were looking at the shelf being sort of torn apart, go, look, see, they're tearing it down. And it ended up being a 2-year-old photo, whatever. I didn't find it to be that engaging enough that I had to really get involved, make a video. I didn't do any of that stuff. I mean, it was also in the middle of Thanksgiving for me, so I had family stuff all weekend, so I really wasn't going to really comment on a lot of it. However, now that we are talking about it, there certainly is, you can't ignore that there certainly is something happening with their hardware. You know, some people have heard, that the Series X has been discontinued. The Series X, not the S, has been discontinued already from production. Whether you believe that or not. But even me just walking around, like I go around and I check stuff too. I saw Larry Herb was like, oh, I went to the store, I checked this out or whatever. GameStop at my the one near my house, which is a big one. They had 2 Series S's and that was it. They still had the games on the shelf. Everything was there, whatever else. Best Buy, they didn't really have a whole lot. However, there is something to be said about the fact that if there are some displays that, let's say, are coming down, there is a possibility that maybe they're making space for, maybe Microsoft is going to make more of a marketing push for this ROG Ally. Oh. Right? Maybe that's going to be their, you know what I'm saying? As opposed to like the Series X's and S's are not really selling or whatever. Well, here's a new product. Let's see how this works out. I mean, you're not going to buy $1,000 handheld off the shelf. I mean, that's not like a you know what I mean? That's not a kind of purchase where like, grandma's walking by. Yeah, like grandma's not walking by with like, she's like, I need grapefruits, I need mushrooms. And like,
wait, are they going to sell the ROG Ally and like the produce section?
Over there and yeah, no, but you know what I'm saying. And I'm just like, because like they think about that stuff, and all of a sudden you see some of these products sitting around and be like, oh, you know what, I'll go get that or whatever. I was going to buy him a console. I mean, no one's going to buy $1,000 console off the shelf as an impulse buy. Mind you, all these consoles are very expensive now. But either way, the point is that a lot of the retail space went to Nintendo and Sony. That I know for sure happened at Costco. They sold the retail space to Nintendo specifically, not to Sony. So that happened there, whatever else. You see some of the other stuff. I went to Best Buy, like I said, they had the ROG Ally on display, and they had a little section there, but the games were still there and all that kind of stuff. I didn't go to Walmart.
I mean, no one's buying the. No one's buying to Target. The disc games at Walmart and Target. Like,
right.
I don't often go to those stores, but Preston in the chat makes a really good point, and me saying this like really introduces the answer fairly early. Preston says Microsoft is going all digital with the Xbox Series X discontinued because it has a disc drive in it. Maybe the truth is that there are the retail space for Xbox is being rearranged and minimized to make room for the ROG Ally X and ROG Ally Plane. Possible. And then maybe less games. Like they're just going to have the hardware, the controllers, the associated headsets or partnered headsets, because I'll say it again. Who in the world in the 2020s is going to Target and Walmart to buy a game in a case and take it home and pop it open?
Very few people these days.
It's like 85% digital on PlayStation right now.
Right.
And I think Xbox, you can fake quote me on this, but somebody told me that they thought Xbox was assuming their customer base is around 90% digital. And you could look at Matt Piscatella's like Circana numbers that he's reported on. He reports on like this 80 to 85% impact rate of digital purchases. But I also have a couple of friends who told me they're literally that their Walmart and Target have zero Xbox presence at all. You go there and there's just red, there's blue, and then that's it. And I mean, I guess I have to take them at their word. Sorry, Meg. I had to interject.
No. I was just going to say that. I was going to say that I did reach out to somebody else about something completely different, but that'll be a subject for another day. It had nothing to do with this. No, Colin Prime. Sorry, he got me in the chat with a funny comment. He was just saying that what it is, and he goes, "So now Sony is money adding store space."
Yeah,
that's actually really funny. But no, it's not Sony. It's Nintendo. Nintendo is actually the one who's money adding store space right now, at least on the Costco side of things. I can't speak for Sam's Club or anything like that. But anyway, the point is that at the end of the day, if you look at and I talked about this actually on Thursday when I did a little guest spot on Mooch's show for about an hour. And I talked about it, and I said, if you actually look at the Xbox division, the problem that people have right now, and a lot of people don't have this problem. A lot of people online, when it comes to the discourse and the comments and all this kind of stuff, they associate one aspect of a division with the whole division, right?
Meaning?
So, for example, like I specified, I'm like, guys, listen closely. The Xbox division is not just the hardware. So when you associate. When you associate, let's say, for example, Walmart or Costco or whatever, makes a business decision because a product is not moving, they take the product off the shelf. It doesn't matter if it's maple syrup. It doesn't matter if it's 9-volt batteries or mustard-flavored mixed nuts or a series console. Which is
also your online Scream name.
Which is, of course, my online... Well, that's my OnlyFans name. Mustard...
What did you call it? Mustard what?
I don't know, mustard flavored mixed nuts. I don't, whatever. I don't know. It just came to my head. It's that 4xpgaming.com, ladies and gentlemen. It gets in my head. That's it. Start going wild. Anyways, the point is that if a product is not selling, they're going to pull it off the shelf. Clearly, the product is not selling. We've seen the numbers over and over and over. Hardware down 8%. Hardware down 21%. Hardware down 16%. These people don't care about your feelings. They're not going to sit there and go, oh, crap. Those guys that watch so-and-so on YouTube are going to be really upset that we're pulling the consoles off the shelf. They don't care about you. They're looking at a product that's saying it's not selling, so they pull the product. Does that mean that Xbox is dead? No. Does that mean the division is closed? No. Every other department. That works,
though, Mag. I got to interject that. Maybe
go ahead.
Maybe you can make an educated guess, but the manager of the local Walmart in my city, my Walmart has the relevant Xbox segment. It's the same size as Nintendo. Like I told you 2 weeks ago, I should have taken a picture, but when I take a picture at consoles in a Walmart, I feel like a loser. I feel kind of dumb.
Can you imagine?
You know, someone's like, "What are you supposed to
look at this? Look at this wacko."
Yeah, I'm like, I typically don't like to take pictures of the Xbox section, you know, just to make social media posts. I try not to do that because it comes off as a little bit obsessive. So I didn't take a picture, but there were 5 Xboxes, a couple Series S's and a couple X's, right? In the case with the lock, you have to get an employee, and then they had like
they come and unlock
that stuff was there. But every city's different. I'm hearing people say there is 0 Xbox section. But my question, I'm sorry, was for you. Like, does the store manager of that Target able to go through the electronics store and go, okay, what's going on in section B13?
Absolutely, they do.
These aren't really moving, so. Like, do they make those choices store by store?
They absolutely have a say in that. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely have a say in that. I know as a fact, you have a say in that because you're running something like I see what people say in the chat. They're like, well, my area, they sell out. Then another person says, well, my area has nothing. It all depends on what's happening in your area, your town, your village, your city, you know what I mean? Your street, whatever.
Like if you have a bunch of ponies that live in your city?
Well, I mean, they're universal. So it's like, but you see what I'm saying? Like they know what sells and what doesn't sell. And if the Xbox hardware have to be very, very whatever, hardware is not selling, then that is exactly why they say, well, you know what? This is not selling here at this location. Get it out. The manager of the store is going to look at all his products. He's going to look at his spreadsheets. He's going to look at his sales and say, yeah, this is not working. I need to tighten up the budget here because, they give me whatever, X amount of money a month to spend on product to put on shelves. Well, I'm going to cut this out because they're only giving me $150,000 or $200,000 in product at cost to bring into the store, put it on the shelves, whatever else. If they're not selling, and if I was working in that store and if I was the manager of the store, I'm not selling Xboxes. because I'm looking at the downward trend saying they're not selling. Bring me more Nintendos. Bring me more PlayStations, because they're marketable brands that grandma and everybody else knows. So when Christmas time comes, you think this is kind of weird that they're pulling like they're a lot of these companies aren't putting stuff on their shelves right before the holiday season. You got Black Friday coming up for the Americans and the Canadians, and you've got Christmas coming up, and like some of the bigger retailers are pulling Xboxes on the shelf. But what are they putting instead? Nintendos.
Yeah,
They're putting in PlayStations, right? And because they know that stuff sells, because it's a marketable brand they look at. I'm not saying Xbox is not a marketable brand, but it's certainly much lower down on the spectrum compared to those two in terms of recognizability. Like, you know, you go to any grandma now, they still call a Series X a Nintendo, right? Because it became part of the public zeitgeist for so long that everybody knows what Nintendo and a PlayStation is. Even during COVID, I remember watching this video on COVID, and they were showing on CNN, they were showing like people sneaking on the beach, and there was like a bunch of teenagers on the beach, and this politician came out and he goes, "Get out of here before you get arrested. Go home and play your PlayStations." And I sat there watching it. I'm like, what if they had Xboxes? Right?
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the zeitgeist of what, like, of how people are understand. So the stores are no different.
So
now I'm tying this. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm tying this all together into there needs to be a removal of two different topics, which people love to smash together or paint with one broad stroke. And that is, because the console is not selling, no one's buying it, does not mean that the entire division is going to die. When you see things like Xbox is dead, or it's gone, or it's never coming back, or this and that, that is entirely not the case. Every other department, and I know as a fact, every other department in the division is actually making money, including Game Pass. Well, especially now, especially with a 50% increase. But anyways, every other department of Xbox is making money except for the hardware. So when there comes, I mean, this will be another topic for another time, but when people start talking about the hardware, is it coming? What are they doing? Is it going to be a big push? Is it going to be this? Is it going to be that? And I'm like, guys, put two and two together here. I'm not saying it's gone, but they're certainly not going to be putting a whole lot of, brick and mortar focus on it if the sales have declined so badly that it's not even equaling up to the Xbox One. But every other department of Xbox is making money, except for the hardware. So now it's Microsoft's decision.
Say that again, Mag.
Okay, I'll say it again for everybody, in case you don't understand. And by the way, for any of you naysayers out there, because I know there's a lot of you, my wife points that out. I said literally the exact same thing on Mooch's show.
Oh no!
I said no. Nobody said squat to me on the show. They were like, "You're right." I said every other department in Xbox is making money except for the hardware.
There it is.
We were talking about hardware. So I said, so now Microsoft has a decision to make in the next 2 years of how they're going to tackle future engagement outside of PC. Okay, and how they're going to move this forward. That is their decision, not mine. We could talk about Magnus later, but I'm just saying this is what they're going to have to do and how to do it. In the next 2 years, they got a choice.
I'm going to tell you
There's your
why.
answer.
I'm going to tell you why they may be prematurely pulling their current stock away from ease of availability in just a moment. But we never even got to the actual answer. The reason how this all settled out, because Mag did a really good job of explaining what's probably happening on all different retail fronts and different locations and regions, right? Mm-hmm. Jez Corden of Windows Central and the Xbox 2 podcast reached out to Microsoft PR on a Sunday afternoon, same as he did last week when everyone said, "Oh my gosh, this leaker says that Xbox's next generation consoles up in the air." Of course, if you're just joining us, Microsoft responded last week and said, "Yes, we are. Nothing's changed. Refer to our agreement with AMD." Microsoft PR got back to Jez Corden and put all of this fire out on a Sunday evening in North America, again on their day off. And Microsoft PR or Xbox brand PRs never take a vacation, and said, I should have pulled up the quote, but it was, "Yes, we are still committed to our brand partners at Target, Walmart, etc. to sell consoles." That's basically what they said. And of course, I will say, everything is subject to change. And Xbox would not lie. Xbox, okay, that one's going to set people's hair on fire. Like I said, everything's subject to change. Now, I shouldn't say Microsoft PR would not have made that statement if they knew that they were in flux or that they had plans to possibly stop all retail and major retails and stop sending stuff over there. They would not have. They would have either said, we don't comment on rumor or speculation, or there would have been no response. But to get a response immediately from games journalists, from PR, that we are still committed, they are still committed partners, being Walmart and Target. That tells you that it is absolute fear and uncertainty and doubt. The FUD peddling of the anti-Xbox people. This sounds really like Alex Jones. They're making the damn frogs gay. It sounds like it, right? But this is the reality that everyone expects. They're ushering out Xbox. Meg, I'm so glad you said that they're making money everywhere. Meg is 100% right. Their division is making money everywhere. They make a killing off of their accessories and their controllers and Game Pass and game sales and microtransactions and Xbox Live. They're making a killing, but their hardware is down anywhere from 8 to 31% at any given quarter, right?
Correct.
So if Xbox said they're not pulling out of these retailers, then they're not pulling out of these retailers. And it was so funny that this weekend, a PR statement from Microsoft themselves, who have agreements with Walmart, Sam's Club, well, not Sam's Club, because they're doing their own thing. The agreement with Walmart and Target and these other retailers, that answer was not good enough, that people would rather believe the harebrained rumors from a Redditor, of someone writing on Reddit. I'm going to tell you one other thing.
Okay,
this is very dangerous, but I'm going to say it anyway. Shout out to over 750 people who are here. Thank you so much for being here and supporting what Mag and I are doing. Blood, sweat, and tears with the studio lights so that we can talk about what you are as passionate about as we are. Thank you so much. Here's the dangerous thing. I am starting to believe that some of these trusted leakers and the people that are listening to them and making posts and trying to get people to say the end is nigh. I always think of the Batarian in Mass Effect 2. The end is nigh. Standing on the crate.
Yep.
Cognitive dissonance and confirmation bias have drunken over some of these people who really feel like everything that happens, they believe that it leads to the answer that Xbox yet is in fact dead. I had a very strong thing that happened to me at work. Work's been really, really super busy, my real job, my regular job. And I heard something because I was in such a one-track mind thinking. I thought something horrible was going to happen because people get in this one-track mind. And I know that people right now are hanging their personality and all of their credentials on a leaker that I think probably no longer has the same tie and same reputable sources as they think they have. Because when I go talk to people, remember, I'm not an insider. Meg and I have been working through this quite a bit. When I talk to people who actually talk to someone who would be the official answer, I don't know how else to say that, and none of that is even the same. There's so much I wish I could tell you, but it's so delicate right now. Don't believe everything you're hearing about the doom and gloom. Xbox is in a very precarious, difficult situation right now. And if they're, and I do believe, Mag, that they are paring back their consoles. I'll bet you the real truth is that instead of sending 10 Xboxes to that particular target that quarter, they're like, send 2 of them. Because every time we sell one, we lose $20 to $100 or whatever it is, depending on the region. And the truth is somewhere in the middle. Xbox is like, oh, we're still committed to our partners, but not like we used to. And I hope you're listening because I think that's where the truth lies. And when the cognitive dissonance is such a deafening roar where people believe this is the signal of Xbox leaving hardware forever, what the fudge are they going to say when Xbox says, and now announcing Project Magnus or whatever they're going to call it when they say, or if they go to the Game Awards next year? Here's the other thing. I don't really believe this, but maybe the reason why they're pulling series consoles back right now or limiting them and changing their retail position is because, Mag, you're so brilliant when you said this. Their next push is ROG Ally and OEM in the next consoles in the next 12 to 18 months. That is going to be their, and they've realized that their consoles they have now, the Series S and X, overpriced as all hell, is not a good market position for them. They would rather crouch low and get ready for the new Xbox that will be made for this specific customer, plus pull in people on PC.
Now, yes, agreed.
Sorry,
now, here's the thing, though. No, it's okay. It's a lot. You have to get a lot out there. There are problems with all of this, though, and the problems are this, and it's justified. Actually, I don't trust Microsoft. I don't believe them, and a lot of people don't either. And the problem is when they say one thing and they do another thing, or they do the corpo speak and then they do something else. And we've seen it. We've seen the pattern time and time again. The problem is not problem. Excuse me. The thing is that at some point people start noticing, right? And then when they start noticing, they're like, okay, well, as the saying goes, fool me 4 times. Right? Not fool me once, but fool me 4 times. I'm like, we've heard this song and dance before. And so those people's side-eye glances to Microsoft are 100% justified. They've done this time and time again, this entire generation, and they deserve all the smoke they get. The problem is, Are they going to be able to recover? Are they going to be able to recover from the public, basically, the discord that has happened right now, and what they've done to their image? The image has been damaged so badly over the last little while. Go on your YouTube, folks. Go on and check every YouTuber over the last 2 weeks, and you see all these articles about how Xbox is dead, or not even Xbox is dead. Microsoft did this, they're in trouble, this and that, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You start getting those wheels turning in people's heads that whenever Microsoft does make a statement, nobody believes you. And that's a problem from their image side as well. The other thing that people have been asking questions is like, who is this magical Sunday fairy that works at Microsoft that always responds on a Sunday, not a Monday to Friday, and they only reach out to Windows Central and nobody else? Where's Phil? Where's Sarah Bond?
Windows Central was the one Windows Central was the one that asked, but I mean, I work in the comms department and they're on call always. You know that.
I know.
Yeah.
I know that. I am just being goofy. But either way, but people are saying, where's Greenberg now? Where's Sarah Bond? Where's Phil Spencer? No one's talking. Satya Nadella says, I'm going to AI, bitches. See you later. And then he pissed off. And he pissed off. And that's it. And like, what's going on?
That's because every time Sarah Bond or Phil Spencer speak about their business plans, they get shifted, or they shift them themselves. And
why do you think I stopped reporting stuff that I hear, dude? Why do you think I stopped reporting stuff? What did I tell you behind the scenes? I said, I'm not reporting stuff that I hear anymore.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. I said, because you know what happens? They go like this. They say, okay, Meg, this is what's happening. And I talk to big time investors, not, whatever, just people. Well, I work I'm a janitor over at Bethesda. No, I'm talking to the guys who like own Bethesda, and they're like, listen, man, this is what's going down.
Yeah.
And they tell me this stuff, and they're still telling me this stuff literally up until this morning, stuff that we talk about, stuff that I told you actually a couple hours before the show. But I won't report it anymore. Why? Because if they go like this, see, here's the lane, right? Here's what they tell me. If they go like this, ever so slightly to the left, I get crucified. Not Bethesda or Microsoft or Xbox. I get crucified if they decide to just go and just angle it ever so slightly to the left. Mm-hmm. You're a liar. You're a fake insider. You're this. So I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of it. I'm not going to talk about it. I'll talk about it after they officially say something. But the funny thing is about this situation, and I'm just trying to represent a large group of people who've reached out to me, who have said, who's saying this stuff? Who's telling these stuff on a Sunday? Some faceless, nobody knows who's this and whatever. And they're like, who's making these statements about, whatever? They're not even addressing. The funny thing is, a lot of the stuff that Sneakers talked about, they're not even addressing. They actually not addressing that at all. They're addressing the other stuff, like for example, they addressed the Xboxes on the shelves, right?
Yeah.
They didn't address the layoffs that are coming. They didn't address more studio closures. They didn't address. Well, they still haven't. I know.
Sneaker didn't say that studios were going to close, but he did say that there was layoffs. They absolutely can't say anything about that.
I know.
As
but I'm just saying.
Going to be, but
I'm not talking from me right now. I am literally representing people who ask me questions on DMs all day long, and I am voicing their opinions right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm just telling you what people are coming to me with, and I'm trying to represent a different side of it. Right? Yeah. And obviously there's a bit of me in there too, because I don't trust Microsoft as a corporate. I don't trust more corporations, period. I don't trust any of them.
I sit here and I tell you that they're likely going to come out with their next console, and when I think they're going to announce it.
They will.
Then I also tell you I don't trust them that at any point they could change it. I just think that we may be getting into you're going to TSMC where they manufacture the wafers and everything like this. There's a big investment in there where Xbox and Microsoft probably have to just go ahead and go through with it and see how poorly this thing sells at that point. But also, like I said, they're going to price it. It's going to be $800 to $1,000. There is no way on any region where the next generation Xbox console from first party is going to lose money. They're not going to do it. They refuse. Satya won't let them. We
said that for 2 years, dude. We said it for 2 years. Expect all hardware moving forward to not lose money. They're modeling themselves after Apple, and Apple does not lose money. They don't have, you don't see Apple in the news every day, like, you know, being completely, no, it's not going to happen. They yes, okay, they have $3,000 VR headsets that nobody's buying, or very few people are buying, but they produce them in a way that it doesn't, sorry, go ahead, yeah.
Sorry. Xbox is king. You can talk about gaming, you can talk about consoles or whatever, but to say that somebody's crying about layoffs, you have to tell me you don't have a job without telling me you don't have a job. That is a destructive thing for somebody's life. It will derail their family, their kids, their career. When Xbox or Microsoft says, we decided AI is going to take up this much work and we need to cut costs to bring up our profitability margin, which is absolutely, I can tell you with a ton of confidence that some of the price hikes have nothing to do with, I wouldn't say it has anything to do with Call of Duty sales being lessened by Game Pass. I think it absolutely has to do with this new person they're hiring to increase profitability. Microsoft wants to look at all that money that Xbox is making and saying, bring that up 10% or 15%. Make it happen. And I don't care. Make it happen. So when they go and take 1,000 or 1,500 employees and tell them to hit the curb, do not tell us to sit here and not complain about people losing their jobs who have spent their life going to college and building an education and a vocation so they can work at some place that is a multi-trillion-dollar outfit like Microsoft. We will absolutely call it out. And when those layoffs come, and I think they'll come probably in the spring, I will be really upset because I am thankful every single day that I have a job and that I can sit here with my good friend Mag and talk about the things that we love when we have some free time. So please keep it respectful, guys. It's a big deal. All right. Mag, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
It's just these are just things, like I said, all the things that we talked about over the 10 minutes. What is your name there in the chat there? MJX box, whatever. I'm a snake bot? Is that a new thing? That's a fantastic new label. I enjoy that.
You're a what?
He said I'm a snake bot. I don't know what that means.
Maybe he's saying somebody is a snake bot, but
I don't know. I'm enjoying Snakebot, but if I'm a Snakebot, I'm, as my wife likes to say, Anaconda. Anyways, let's get back to the topic at hand. What I was saying is that all sides of this have to be explored and, of course, and looked at, where I see people just attacking from one side and the other, and they're both coming together with, like I said, without all the information, and you're getting pieces of information and people are fighting about it, and it's totally ridiculous. But if you pull yourself out of it and just look at everything and say, okay, this is what's happening here. Like I said before, you look at the hardware. Okay? You look at the hardware and you say, okay, Xbox is profitable, 99% of it except for the 1%. They're going to have to make a decision about that. That new guy's going to have to look at that too. And then now, him and Phil got to sit down and say, what are we doing? And my prediction is this. I'll give you my prediction for next generation. Okay. I think there still will be a Magnus, whatever the hell you want to call it. It's going to be produced way less, 5 to 10 million units maximum. But you know what they can do by doing that? Then you can't turn around and say, I have a library I can't use because you guys killed hardware. Well, actually, it's right there. It's the Magnus. Okay, $1,000, but don't say we didn't give you an option. So you have an option. But if you want to continue with Game Pass, for example, and be like, listen, if you just want to be a Game Pass gamer, cool, that's totally fine. Go ahead and do that. Pay your 30, probably 35 by that time. But either way, it's it's going to be more expensive. But I said, listen, you have your own option. You could just play it right off your TV. I told you I bought a new monitor, Colt, right? And what was it? Earlier this year. And as soon as I turned it on, it was advertising Indiana Jones, and it says play on your TV, no console required. Sorry, play on your monitor, no console required, right? And it was right there on my thing. So if you're that kind of an Xbox gamer, go ahead, just do that. If you want to pay the $1,000, go ahead and do that too. They're giving you options, just doesn't mean they're going to be affordable ones. You know what I'm saying? So there are problems there, and there are things that they're going to have to solve. But let's say the guy says, listen, I'll entertain one more console from you guys, but you get 5 million. That's it. And then if you sell out of the 5 million right off the bat, then we'll produce another million, and then another million, then another million, and we'll do it slowly like that so we lose no money. We're still getting people in the ecosystem. You're not going to get new people, but you're certainly going to keep the people that are already there. You're going to have PlayStation 6 doing its thing and whatever else, and people will flock there as well as they do every single generation, guys. Like, you want to talk about trends? Five generations in a row. You know what I mean? They're just going to keep doing what they're doing. It's never going to change for Sony. And they're not going to change too much because they're making a lot of money.
And
same thing with Xbox.
Nintendo is outselling. The Nintendo Switch 2 is on par to outsell PlayStation again, two generations in a row. So
I think I saw the last sales numbers. I think that Switch 2 was in second place this fall. I think it's still PlayStation 5 is number 1, Switch 2 is number 2, number 3, believe it or not, is Switch 1, and then Xbox is in last. Now, the thing is, the point is, at the end of the day, at least they will give you an option. So I still believe that they'll give expensive boutique style option. I don't think you're going to find Magnuses in the store. You're going to be able to buy them online like your ROG Allies and everything else. And maybe down the road, maybe you might find one in the store.
My friend said he absolutely expects the next generation Xbox to be in the major retail stores. But I don't. I disagree with that entirely. Yeah, I mean,
I don't think they'll do that. They don't. Sorry, I was going to say they don't have the sales numbers to back that up. I don't believe that Xbox will be on the store shelf.
Well,
you might find a few, like at Best Buy.
I argued with a friend about that. You're forgetting like the first year, the brand new Xbox will be really hot. It'll sell really well the first year.
Yeah.
So they'll be able to put that in stores and it'll sell out, and then they'll throw more in there. But after about a year, that will fizzle out real quick as they hit their diehard and dedicated fan base, and then the curious people first, and then it'll slow way down, and then I think you and I will be correct at the anywhere from 10 to 15 million by the end of the generation. Danny Passion Official, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, content creators need to stop paying attention to what people say about them. Honestly, this topic sounds like if you're defending yourself, it sucks. Yeah, and I mean, I could have responded to that guy and tried to defend myself, but most of that is riddled in jealousy. It takes a while to build an audience. It takes a while to get a studio or a publisher to say, hey, you've got an audience, and your audience, we'd like you to represent our game in a review, and we'd like to give you that opportunity. It takes a long time, and there are a lot of people that criticize me in the PlayStation community for the most part. Like, I don't know, there's just a reason, black versus white or red versus blue or whatever it is, green versus blue. Yeah, someone's going to clip the black versus white thing. It's like, it's either this or it's that, right? So yeah, it's the green versus blue. I mean, some of those guys, they don't get those opportunities. If you're a really good content creator, like, there's PlayStation guys that I really like Detective Seeds. He's built an incredible following and respect. So thank you, Danny Passion Official. Appreciate you. Chris, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Says, the OG Anniversary Edition is literally Halo 1 with a new coat of paint and a graphics switcher. He says, the rumored new remake actually has newer features, redesigned levels, maybe some extra stuff. Yeah, and like sprint, and hopefully it'll be really cool. But I'm not sure if I'm going to be excited about doing another playthrough, but we'll see. Maybe I'll feel different. I always say, Mag, that when I play Halo, I was like, I like Halo. And then when I'm playing it, I'm like, oh yeah, I really like Halo. Every time it happens.
Yeah, I have. I've always enjoyed Halo. And it's funny because I actually missed the first one on launch because I never had an original Xbox.
Yeah.
And then I started at Halo 2, funny enough. Yeah. Carry on.
Yeah, I kind of did too. This is going to get me thrown in prison, but I only played Halo 1 because I downloaded off of like Kazaa or LimeWire or something. And so I played it on my PC on like a compact Presario.
Yeah.
And it was like, I think it was when Halo 2 came out and everyone was talking about Halo, and I didn't think 2 or Halo 2. I just remember the word Halo was synonymous with one of the coolest games ever made at the time in 2002 or 2003 or 4, whatever it was.
Dude, it was a call. It was actually, believe it or not, I mean, if you see some of the old footage, it was actually a cultural phenomenon at that point. People were lined up. People were out in the streets chanting Halo, 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 and whatever. It was a whole thing. Man, it was pretty awesome. I mean, it's pretty amazing. Like, and that was during the times where, like, you know, people used to. I remember the chaos when like GTA 5 dropped, and like the midnight releases of that game, and people were just in the streets. Like, it was wild. It was like, you know, it was like the Leafs won the Stanley Cup. I mean, that'll never happen, but you know what I'm saying? It's like it's the same vibe. It was incredible. Now it's digital. Everybody just, you know, whatever.
Yeah, it was a big deal. I just remember Halo was synonymous with something really cool, and I wasn't really a gamer back then. I was like on my sabbatical with little kids, brand new family. I've got a new piece of Grand Theft Auto trivia that I think nobody else. I didn't know this until this morning. It's kind of interesting, and I was actually playing this game over the past couple of weeks. Grand Theft Auto 4 was almost a PlayStation 3 exclusive.
Correct.
And I didn't know this, and Microsoft and Xbox panicked so hard that they contacted Rockstar and not only paid them $45 million to get the game on the Xbox 360, but paid a little extra. That $45 million also included the Ballad of Gay Tony and the Lost in the Dam DLC, which was exclusive to the Xbox for a long time. I did not know
DLC I ever played. Yep, that's a whole thing. That was a whole situation. But that's when Xbox had, I mean, like the 360. That was their that was their pinnacle, and so they had to like you cannot miss out on GTA. And so they knew exactly what they had. I mean, they were already on a hardcore roll, and they're like, no, we can't walk away from this. And by the way, the Ballad of Gay Tony is probably one of the best DLCs I've ever played in my life. The story is so exciting and so amazing. I think actually MJ Xbox is a big fan of that too, of Gay Tony. So yes,
it took itself a little less seriously, which brought Liberty City to life and more colorful. And I don't remember the name of the character you play as, you know, because you work for Gay Tony, the nightclub owner, but he was a Puerto Rican black Puerto Rican guy. I think, if I remember, I haven't played it, and don't quote me, it's been like 12 years, but oh my gosh, I loved it so much. And you could parachute jump. But yeah, I didn't know that Xbox, and back then everyone was like, oh, the Xbox 360 is amazing. They had all the exclusives. Almost every single game that you loved was money-hatted on the 360. From studios they didn't own and franchises they didn't yet own. So anyway, let me
Magnum, knock it off.
People
sorry, Yusuf is saying there's another.
Magnum says, I'd rather play the Ballad of Gay Mag. That would be amazing. You know what? I'd put Mag, I'm going to mod you into Grand Theft Auto 4.
That's fine. I'm in, man.
You're going to be going, I see what you did there. I see what you did there. Yeah, just be that the whole time.
Yusuf in the chat saying that you missed the super chat. See if you find it. Did you or is it coming up maybe?
It's right here. It's in 2.
Oh, it's right there. Okay.
Broke Boy Insider was arguing or helping me argue today that their Xbox ROG Ally is an actual Xbox. If you go to the website, Asus says the very first thing in bold letters is, this is an Xbox. He says, Cole, I think Captain finally gave up on Twitter. There was a guy that he was arguing with over and over and over. And I said, bro, just ignore him. Everybody else is. But he just kept going on and on and on and proving him wrong over and over. It's considered an Xbox. It's so funny that the handheld that they thought no one would buy, dead on arrival, no one cares about it, but they don't want that name Xbox tied to it. If it sucked that bad, if nobody wanted it, why do you care that it's called an Xbox? Tell yourself that when you go to sleep at night with somebody over there who's complaining. Lou Silver, great name, Lou Silver.
I was going to say Lucifer. I was like, wow, even the devil watches this show, ladies and gentlemen.
Who doesn't? Thank you for the super says, the same Jez that was told only 2 exclusives, laugh out loud. No, that wasn't what Jez was told. as time passes, our idea of the history of how things happen changes dramatically. In February of 2024, I was here on this podcast with Red Wolf, and I went, because I got a text from Jez saying, don't believe everything you've read. It's not that bad. A week later, Xbox business update. Phil says, it's just 4 games, not a signal what's to come. But the problem is, that did not change for 9 months later. 9 months they went on and on and on and on and announced Indiana Jones and did all this stuff, or had Indiana Jones come out. Yeah, it took a long time. And that's what I said. Never count on Xbox to not change their mind. Yusuf Awada, thank you so much for the Canadian $5, says, if one has most games on Steam, would you encourage us to get the upcoming hybrid Xbox or just get a PS5, given that Xbox hardware may not be lasting long? Yusuf?
You want to take that first? Go ahead. You can take it.
You go.
I was going to say, listen, there's always going to be some kind of a hardware solution out there. Whether it's going to be big and bombastic or whether it's going to be something that you can only buy online. For example, they're showing success right now. Sorry, my cat really wants attention. They're showing success right now with the ROG Ally selling, and they're not selling it in stores.
It is doing
it ain't in
decent,
storefronts. Huh? Yeah, like now the thing is, we don't know what kind of we don't know what kind of numbers they are. And again, I don't trust Microsoft as far as I can throw them when they're like, we sold out across the world, and then in smaller letters it says on the Microsoft store. And I'm like, you could have had 136 ROG Allies on your website, and then they'd be like, you see, we sold out. So I don't trust them. But if it is selling everywhere else and doing well, they didn't do it at a storefront. They did it digitally online. You purchase your game, you purchase the hardware. It gets sent to you. Bing, bang, boom, and goodbye. I absolutely see that when they do some kind of a hardware solution next generation in a couple of years, I see them doing the exact same thing. They're just going to have it available online. You buy it, and maybe you might see it here and there. But the fact that right now we're halfway through a generation and or just 3/4 to a generation, and we could barely even see any of those boxes out there now. What makes you think they're going to put any more out there later on? People they've lost trust in the brand, and they're going to look at it and say, listen, man, you guys want to sell it, we'll sell it, but we're not going to carry boxes and boxes in the store, especially for $1,000 and possibly upwards of $1,000. They're like, we'll put a couple, just like you said.
I'm sure Microsoft's going to make them manage it so they can't lose. Is that Gizmo you're holding?
Yeah, it's Gizmo. Yeah, this is Gizmo.
Give him some spotlight time because the chat's ablaze.
Oh
my gosh.
Gizmo, what are you doing, buddy? Yeah, you want to see him?
Oh,
there's
so
a Sphinx,
great.
Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, there you go. There's a Sphinx, ladies and gentlemen.
You know what? It close like that, he looks like an avatar from the movie.
Well,
his face and his big eyes.
He is a little bit freaky looking, but he's
awesome looking.
Yeah.
Shout out to Meg's cat, everybody. Yeah.
Shout out to North Africa, baby. This is where you get these guys from.
That's sweet, bro.
Yeah.
I love that.
Why do you think all the Egyptian, you look at all the Egyptian hieroglyphs and stuff, Anubis and everything else,
right?
They all have the same. They have Sphinx heads, right? They all have Sphinx heads because it's these cats, and they don't have hair because it's too damn hot for hair out there.
It just burns right off. Yusuf, I was going to say on top, Meg covered it really well, but so you get this console and it lasts 5, 6 years or 8 or whatever, probably 6. I think that the console generation need to be shorter anyway.
They're going to shorten up, Colt. I think that's going to also be a thing as incremental hardware keeps coming in. I think 4 years is going to start being the norm. However, support for your console and your hardware will go longer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think
so. You could buy $1,000 Xbox and it'll last you 10 years, right? Series X. You think they're going to kill the Series X right now? If you already have it, Colt, they're going to continue to support it. Is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Even into the next generation, you'll be able to play Series X till 2030. Carry on. Sorry, my bad.
It's okay, Yusuf. I would definitely, if you own games on Steam, I'm going to change your comment here a little bit. If you own some games on Steam, I would definitely not hesitate to build more games on Steam or Xbox, because this console generation, Xbox will put out this new one. It'll last a certain amount of years, but I think the future that Microsoft plans is to put out this one console and satisfy that thing. And then the next chipset for next generation will only be a chip. Xbox at that point will no longer be a box. It will be a piece of silicon that says this is an Xbox, meaning that you can buy a PC build or a Steam top box or whatever, an OEM thing in the future. And if it has that hardware in it somewhere, it is an Xbox and all of your games will play natively on it and everything that PC has to offer. This is something PlayStation can't do. You have to, if you want to play Spider-Man 2, you got to rebuy it on PC. And so for those of you who are like, I left Xbox, I'm going to PC, this is the right direction. So thank you for that, super. Grandpa Barbecue's Game Cat says, my son plays Xbox and PC and the grandson on the TV app, no console in their house. Oh, that surprises me, but I should try it. This TV right here has that ability and I've never done it. Andy Hart, thank you for being a channel member for 20 months. Grandpa Barbecue Game Cat is at 24. Thank you guys for becoming members. We appreciate you so much and keep an eye out for early access. Andy Hart says, morning, gentlemen. I believe Xbox is at a crossroads and some decisions are anti-consumer, but eventually will be beneficial also. Mag bills are struggling right now, he says.
It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
But, yeah.
The Jays have completely crapped the bed for 2 straight days. So
no,
and now
they
the Bills,
did not.
nothing.
No, they did not. They played killer yesterday, and they played really, really well most of the game. I am not interested in losing a friend over a baseball game or a sports team, but the Blue Jays played phenomenal. What was it? Yesterday, yeah. Yesterday
was a pitcher's duel until until the and it's not really the coach, it's the people up in the boxes up atop. Remember, folks, we were talking about Xbox and talking about PlayStation and stuff. Don't watch the people down below. Everybody wants to blame the coach. Go look beyond the coach, folks. Go look at the owners in the box, the people that are watching these algorithms, and that's how this
and they're making
sports
the calls
is now.
for 'em?
It's all run by algorithms and trends. And they're like, well, it says here that 5.13 innings is pitched, that we should put in a left-handed, like, you know what I mean? Like that kind of crap.
Yep.
Instead of let the players play the goddamn game and get out there and play the game, let the coach say, listen, dude, he walked the guy and the guy got a base hit. You're going to pull him out of the game. Make him sweat through that like everybody else used to back in the day. Play the game that you're paid to play.
Yeah,
let him play. Let him get out of it.
On Friday, I was watching the game with my dad, and my dad kept making like coaching decisions out loud. And I'm like, Dad, you should go coach them.
Yeah,
we appreciate you guys so much. Udana Kizada, thank you for the $2 super chat. Says Xbox 720, no scope, headshot 6.7, no cap, win. Udani's too old for his age. You can tell that. Driftwood, thank you so much.
By the way, the Bills are only down by a touchdown. I understand. They're not having a rough night. They're just not playing well. And anybody knows anything about Buffalo, one touchdown ain't enough to shut them down. In the fourth quarter alone, they'll bury you with 3-4 bombs. That's it, and the game's over. But they have been struggling the last little bit. They kind of been sagging a bit. But hey, man, that's part of the game. You know, you do great for a little bit, and then all of a sudden you sag for a bit in the season, then you come back. I mean,
we're just getting started. Just getting started. Driftwood with thanks for the 10 says, what if Xbox's plan is to get thrown out of stores? So PlayStation has to buy games digitally from Microsoft Store or Game Pass. They don't have to pay Sony 30%, even Call of Duty. I don't know what you mean by that. What if Xbox's plan is so that PlayStation has to buy games digitally from the Microsoft Store?
No. They'll never do that.
Yeah.
I see what he's saying. No,
go ahead.
That won't happen. The deal is that the Sony has only one store and one access point to their product, right? Same thing like Steam. Like Steam only has Steam. That's it. There's no other way to access beyond that. As a result of that,
PlayStation is the only one that you can only buy your games from just them. We're not going to talk about Nintendo because who even knows? But Steam, you can buy on multiple sites, get Steam keys that are from third party, and Xbox, but you can't with PlayStation.
No, but Steam keys are still by Steam, is what I'm saying. Like you can't buy from another. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. On the PlayStation side of things, they only have the one access point into their storefront or whatever, and therefore all deals have to go through the PlayStation Store. And because they basically call the shots when it comes to when it comes to purchasing power of product, they can pretty much do what they want. There'd be no chance that anybody else could finagle a 30% out of them. That 30% is going to continue to go through them, and that's what happened at the ABK trials, and that was why they were fighting so hard about it. Right? Because they're like, listen, they can't make Call of Duty exclusive because we make, and of course, we saw that. We're seeing it with our own eyes. 82+% of the games of COD is bought on PlayStation. And they're like, we're going to lose billions, and that's not going to happen or whatever else. And of course, it didn't happen. It was kept everywhere. So yeah, that will never happen in that respect.
Okay. Danny Passion Official, thank you for the 5. Xbox has all the cards, but they don't know how to use them. They have Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, Elder Scrolls, and even other huge games, and they're still losing market share. They're losing market share. They're also losing goodwill with fans and the general gaming public in the industry, and they need to fix
the bigger
that
problem.
immediately. Yeah,
that's the bigger problem. But you know what, Colt? This is going to sound sort of doomy. Yeah. But are they going to be able to? I know the crowd is fickle. And one day you hate something, the next day everybody loves you. But can they come back from it? Like, I mean, the discourse has been so horrendous.
Yeah, evil Microsoft and greedy Xbox and Microsoft. It's really, really bad. And
like shit, even IGN, man.
Oh,
remember that article they put up?
Yeah, everybody.
I mean, Xbox will be remembered for greed. Like, holy crap! And that's on IGN that had, yeah, like you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be hard, man.
The Act Man who covers all gaming stuff and is well respected personality in the games industry, he said, Phil Spencer and the Xbox leadership just suicided the whole brand, and that was his tweet regarding the retail shutdown thing. And 5 hours later, it got completely debunked. But I'm not going after Act Man because he may not have been fully correct about if that was what they were doing. But on the whole, he's kind of right that they are kind of jettisoning the goodwill of the brand, and they've given everybody every reason to say, I don't like them anymore like I used to. And I don't know if I've said this here on the show, but my comment section on my YouTube videos is probably 80% people saying, man, I was with them for a while, but I'm just kind of done. Not anybody being angry or insulting me or insulting Phil. It's just, they're just like, I'm just tired, boss. And then the other 10 or 20% are, I'm ride or die with Xbox. I'm excited about the games. And one of my close friends today was like, Xbox means nothing to me anymore, and I'm not going to get their next console, and I don't care what they do. And I said, well, what about the games? Like, are you about the games? You don't play on the Xbox console. Like, you only play on PC. So did you care about the plastic more than you cared about the games? Because the games are all that they have left is Game Pass, the games, and then the consoles being minimized. The next console is probably not for that fan. And I'm like, which one did you really care about? The console war or the games? Ask yourself these questions when you have these discussions. Woggerman, a good friend of the channel, a good friend of just the world, and to me. Thank you so much for the $10 super.
Woggerman. Sorry, couldn't help myself.
He says,
by the way,
what?
What?
By the way, what?
No. Some people in the chat were saying, Mag, why are you red? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, my screen went red for like a minute there, and then now it went back to normal. So, no, it's fine now.
He was embarrassed because his pants.
No,
came
not
off.
me. No, not my face red. Like the whole background, everything turned red.
Oh, it did?
It was so wild. Yeah, it was so wild. Yeah, it was insane. And it was like, there you go. Matthew Hill's like, better, Mag. I didn't do anything.
I didn't either. I didn't have my finger on the trigger.
It just like all of a sudden the screen was completely red, and then all of a sudden it's like now it's like back to normal.
I don't know. Hey, but
weird, totally wild.
Trying to keep it interesting. Woggerman, all right, here we go. He says, "Let's play a game." PlayStation 6 comes out at $600 to $700.
All right,
I think it might be more. He says Xbox comes out for $1,000, but plays PC and Xbox legacy games. Is that enough value to be a motivating factor for people in our bubble? It may be. I own 1,000 games, so I'm more excited about the next Xbox console because I own lots. I own 1,000 Xbox games and I own, I don't know, 500 PC games. I'm absolutely excited about them making their next thing. The PlayStation? I'm different from Mag. Like, Mag picks a lot of multi-platforms that he plays there, and he streams
I game share with my wife.
Yeah,
and I stream from there, and I game share with her because she doesn't have an Xbox. So yeah, my PlayStation library has been growing this generation as a result, right? So that's been growing. I have over 1,000 plus. No, just under 1,000 games on Xbox as well, because I was with them for longer, right? 3 generations.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm still with them now, but I mean, it's just lesser extent since Game Pass came in. Right. I mean, the last third-party game I bought from Xbox was Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh, wow. Jeez. It's a long time ago.
Then everything else I've been playing on Game Pass or not at all. So the thing is, when it comes to the legacy stuff, Cole, I just want to get this in here. There are a lot of people who have all these games or whatever, but there are also a lot of people who've been playing Game Pass for the last 7 years. It's been, by the way, you realize it's coming up on 8 years it's been out, or it's already been 8 years. Came out in 2017. Yeah. Okay, so if a lot of people are using Game Pass for the majority of their gaming or whatever, their libraries are almost non-existent. So I think that at that point, when they start looking at those numbers and trends, the Colteastwoods of the world and the Rands of the world and the Mags of the world, and even Crab Gamer has over 1,000 games on his Xbox. You look at those guys.
It's like 5,000. Yeah. Him and Rand own every game. Yeah.
Yeah. And so now you think about that. We're no longer the focus cult. So we're going to get the short end of the stick in terms of availability and options, because they're going to be like, listen, we'll give you a niche something so that you can access all your stuff. But our analytics tell us the majority of people are just consuming on Game Pass and really have no libraries.
Yeah.
So you're going to look at that too. And I'm not talking about the hardcore. I'm not talking about the people in this chat. I'm talking about the 85 other percent out there that you guys don't even know about. You know what I mean? The people don't watch us, who don't know who Mag is, who don't know who Colt is.
It's kind of funny that we talk so seriously and so in depth and so analytically about where the future lies with Xbox and how it's going to work for us when we are a small niche minority of the current Xbox.
We're barely 10%.
Enjoyed that boot on Sony's neck. Says Colt gets a lot of free games though. Let's not forget. Let's not forget what? Do you realize that everyone who reviews a game from the publisher and gets access to that game early does not pay for it? That is part of the marketing budget to give that person the game for free. That's how it works. They don't say, hey, we'll give you the game early and it's $70. They could. That could be the norm, but that's not how it works. That's not how they do it. And so, I don't know, I beat 20 to 30 games every year. How many of those were free? 3? It's been an amazing show. We have to end it here early. My son has a band concert for school, and there was another huge topic that we're going to pass on to tomorrow. I have a feeling some of that's going to surface and prepare us for the next show, because I can't say anything now until it's been made public on other podcasts that are going on soon or just before, whatever. So, so sorry to end it abruptly. We like to give you guys a full hour of all the news and give you our best. We appreciate you so much. Mag, tell everybody where they can find you and about your next stream and all that.
Well, it was a great show tonight. We're totally fine, but there's obviously some really angry people in the chat tonight. Jesus Christ. But anyways, guys, don't take it too seriously, man. Yeah, like holy crap. And here we go. Enjoyed that boot on Sony's neck. Mag, can you tell everyone how you only play third-person games?
That's all I do either.
I don't only play third-person games.
I only play first-person games, and I only play third-person games. I only play linear and open-world games.
I've been streaming Borderlands on my channel all month, and I was streaming Battlefield the other day.
What's up, and I'm actually Magic? How are you?
Funny enough, what's his name again there?
My High
Enjoyed
Magic
that boot on Sony's neck. Listen, bruh. Come join my chat tonight. Listen, in about half an hour's time, when we're done the show here, I'm going to be streaming the Battlefield 6 campaign. Obviously, not the whole campaign. I'll do it in pieces, but I will do some of that tonight. So if anybody wants to check it out, in about half an hour's time, get me something to eat, get me something to drink, and then I'm going to come back and then go stream on my channel, The Mag Show, and I'll be doing that. Of course, Magcast is tomorrow night. Magcast is now I broke keeps breaking attendance records. Almost 2,000 people came to watch last week. So that was huge. Magcast is really gaining in popularity. And I'll be streaming as well during the week. So I'll be streaming for Mag's Halloween Haunt, obviously Magcast. And if I decide to do a video or two throughout the week, my videos are short, usually only between 5 and 10 minutes anyway, and just to get some information out there. But anyways, that's all that's going on. So if anybody wants, maggots, you know where to find me. In about 30 minutes, I'll be over on my channel streaming the Battlefield 6 campaign. And by the way, we got kind of interrupted at the beginning saying that when we were talking about what we're playing, I've been playing Ghost of Yotai, Pony, and I've been playing a crap ton of Battlefield 6. Magnificent game. Come check out the stream later tonight. Colt, you got to go. So say goodbye to all the lovely people, my friend.
Thank you, everybody. Hit like button on the way out. I don't know what's going on in the channel this week. I never know what's going on, but we appreciate all your support, and thank you for everything. We're going to get out of here, and we'll see you next Monday for X and C. And take care of yourselves, and hope everything goes better. You guys are amazing. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Love you guys. Talk to you guys.